Okay, so picture this. You're out scouting, right? And
Hmm.
everywhere you look, it's just history, ancient history. The light feels different. The colors are incredibly rich.
Yeah, that's definitely the pull of filming in the Holy Land.
Mm,
It's got this unique atmosphere, the place where civilization began, like they say. It offers this amazing canvas.
totally. But it's not just about looking good, is it?
No, not at all. As that Biblical Productions video points out, the land itself,
Mm,
the trees, the desert, the water, the sky, it's meant to be deeply inspiring. They talk about finding the right location to tell your specific story.
right, that connection,
Mm,
which is powerful.
definitely.
So today on the deep dive, we want to get beyond just the beautiful scenery. We're going to dive into the practical side, the complexities of actually making films and TV shows happen there, because it is a complex region.
And we've got some interesting stuff to look at, materials from Biblical Productions, this Israeli company that specializes in exactly that. Their website, their YouTube channel,
Mm,
it gives a real window into the nuts and bolts.
exactly. So our mission really is to understand the hurdles filmmakers face there, and maybe more importantly, why having that local know-how, that expert on the ground, is so vital. It's kind of a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes.
Okay, so let's start with that attraction.
Uh,
Why is the Holy Land such a draw, even with potential difficulties? You mentioned the inspiration.
Yeah, the biblical productions video really leans into that. They call themselves location hunters, seeking that ripe color palette,
Hmm.
finding the perfect shot. But it's more than just visuals, right? You're filming somewhere with layers upon layers of history.
Hmm. And that history, that weight, it brings so much depth, but also, things you need to consider. Doesn't matter if it's a historical piece or a modern story, the location itself is almost a character.
Yeah, and biblical production seems to really get that link between the place and the story.
They do.
But okay, having that inspiration is one thing. Turning it into actual film, that's a whole other ballgame. And that's where a company like Biblical Production steps in. Their tagline is expert film and TV production services in Israel.
And looking at their site, the range of what they offer is pretty wide. It's everything from handling the whole production, doing pre-production, acting as a fixer, which is huge for international crews coming in.
Right, the fixer role is key.
Totally. Plus, casting, getting the film crew sorted, renting equipment. It seems like a one-stop shop, basically, designed to make it smoother for outsiders.
And they really play up their local connections. They call themselves door openers,
Mm.
talking about long-standing personal relationships with talent, crews, technicians, everyone you need.
That network is, well, it's probably priceless in a place like that. Having those established relationships makes a massive difference. It's not just finding people, it's finding the right people who know how things work there.
Yeah, people you can trust.
Exactly.
And one thing they highlight, which seems super important, is direct access to regional filming permits.
Oh, yeah. Anyone who's filmed anywhere knows permits can be a real headache.
Right, a bureaucratic nightmare sometimes.
Mhm.
So having someone who could just handle that, that's a huge plus.
It really suggests they know the system inside out. The local rules, who to talk to, saves time, money, hassle. It's like having that local guide who knows all the shortcuts.
So we have the amazing locations, the inspiration, but we hinted earlier, it's not always straightforward. Filming there isn't just about finding a pretty spot.
No, absolutely not. You see mentions of projects they've worked on, like In Our Hands with CBN Films. Now, we're not digging into the content of that film itself today, but just the type of intense historical story suggests, well, it suggests you need a certain sensitivity.
Sensitivity and probably some really careful planning, logistically speaking.
Right. Even beyond the specific subject matter, the history, the context of the region itself can create unique challenges you wouldn't find elsewhere, practical hurdles.
And that's really where that local expertise becomes absolutely critical.
Yeah, let's break that down. Why is it so essential? They're not just finding views, they're finding the shot. They say they know exactly what time the light hits best and where, and just what roof to shoot from. That kind of detail.
That comes from experience, years on the ground, knowing the place intimately.
And then there are the crews and talent. Having those established connections means you're not scrambling to build a team from scratch. You're plugging into a network that already works.
Saves so much time and uncertainty.
Then the permits and regulations we mentioned. Trying to figure that out from afar, forget it. A local expert just knows the dance.
Yeah, knows the steps, knows who leads.
Exactly. And things always go wrong on shoots, right? Little things, big things.
Yeah.
But maybe in a place with unique sensitivities, having someone who can think on their feet, who plans meticulously like biblical production says they do, is even more important for keeping things running smoothly.
You can sort of see the trust international companies put in them by looking at the variety of projects on their website. Big commercials like De Beers, docs for the Science Channel, History, Discovery, TLC,
Ah,
even fashion shoots like Pauline Paris. It's a broad range.
it really is. Shows versatility. Projects like The Genius of Israel, Secrets of the Lost Ark, Unexplained. These sound like they'd need serious logistical skill and that sensitivity we talked about.
hmm And there's that little note thanking Morgan Freeman and his team, even without knowing the exact project, getting a nod from someone like him.
Yeah, that definitely suggests they delivered a high level of professional service. It carries weight.
And finally, let's touch on their philosophy. They talk about integrity, passion, excellence, and vision, aiming for the perfect shot with an unconventional approach.
That passion really comes through. It suggests they're not just ticking boxes, they're invested in the creative outcome, too. Especially needed when things get tough. That drive to exceed expectations, to solve problems creatively. That's huge.
So wrapping this up, it feels like the takeaway is pretty clear. Filming in the Holy Land offers these incredible um, visual and historical rewards.
Absolutely. But actually making it happen means dealing with a whole layer of practical stuff, logistical hurdles, permits, local nuances. It's complex.
And that's where having a local expert, someone like Biblical Productions, becomes essential. They're the door openers, the navigators. They provide that critical on-the-ground knowledge and connections you absolutely need.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? When you see these amazing films or shows shot in such significant places, you realize the passion and the intense planning involved. It makes you wonder, what other unseen complexities are lurking behind the scenes for productions in other historically charged, culturally rich locations around the world?
Yeah, definitely food for thought. What goes on behind the camera that we never even consider?